So, yeah, the last time we recorded, I think you might have been one of my first few interviews that I had done when I was first starting to do interviews. And that was actually a really popular one.
Really? I promoted it.
You got the most popular.
I was like, everyone has to listen to it
now. A lot of people liked that episode.
What did we talk about?
We talked about your background. So, okay, let's go ahead and introduce you.
Okay.
Again.
You're going to give me an introduction or do I introduce myself?
Okay, so welcome to the podcast.
Drum roll.
I'm Alexis, and this is Yefree with a Y, not a J. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, my name's Yefree with the Y, like she said, Montoya. And
what do you do?
I'm a real estate agent. I work at Las Casas Realty in Highland Park. So that's how I know her.
Yeah.
Yeah, neighbor actually.
I know. I was like, I don't know you from Las Casas.
No,
I wish
from
you
Highland
could
Park.
Sell me a house.
Yeah. You'll be ready in no time.
I thought at some point I would have been, and it seems like it's getting worse. So never mind.
Well, you know, things have been changing recently, so it's not just you.
What does that mean, though?
Like the market.
Tell me about the market. Everyone wants to know about the market.
Everyone does, huh?
Yeah. So what do you know about the market right now?
Well, with the interest rates staying at a certain level, because they went up from like 2 years ago, that was like ridiculously low for like 2 years. It was like 3-4 rate, 3 to 4%, 2 to 3 years ago, right? And so everyone was buying, getting a good deal, but that made the prices go up. So now the rates went down. I mean, they went up and they're staying there. So the properties are not selling as fast.
Okay.
So it seems like the market is taking a dive, but it's just going back to normal. You know? Properties are not just selling like right away.
So the interest rate is going down now?
No, it's staying leveled.
Oh,
but
leveled.
It's up compared to what it was like a year or two.
Okay.
So the people that bought then got a super, super good interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
So now they think about it before moving because of that.
You said that you were did you already take economics?
I did. I took macroeconomics.
Okay. So that's general like Econ 1, right?
I don't know.
So?
I mean,
I think you take macro before you do micro.
Yeah, macro, and then I'm going to take micro. So that's just like the big picture.
So was it really interesting to learn about just the way, I mean, I'm sure real estate, since you're knowledgeable about real estate, I'm sure there's some things that tied when you were learning about economics, right?
Definitely.
What did you learn?
Well, there was a lot of things that I was able to understand, but it was more like looking at how the money works and funding, mm-hmm. like finance, like lending, where the money comes from, and how it's just like practically the same money being played constantly. Like you lend it to someone, that person will lend it back to the same bank, and the banking system is just, the central bank.
Yeah.
And they talk a lot about where, the funding comes for properties and how it works and all that stuff, and how the interest rates just changes and all that. So I knew it from the perspective from lenders, but now I see it from the perspective of a book in class.
Yeah. And just like the overall economics and how it functions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Actually, from all the classes that I took, that one was the one that I did the worst in.
Really?
I got a B, yeah. But it was online, so I wasn't really paying attention. So it's like...
never mind. I was just say, did you use ChatGPT?
Did I? I think everyone does.
You don't have to answer that.
I did everything, then I just had ChatGPT correct it.
Okay, fair enough. I also took econ last year because I failed it twice when I was at PCC, and I failed it twice, and so I know I shouldn't have. I told you
the first thing you told me is like smack it harder.
Okay, so I failed it twice. I don't know if I told you, but I failed it twice.
You just told me twice.
So I decided to redo that whole class because like 8 years later, I already fucking failed it 8 years ago, 9 years ago, maybe. And I decided to do it again because I was like, you know what? I'm going to prove to myself that I can do this. So I did it and I got an A. I don't remember learning a lot because it was a summer class and those classes just like go by so fast. But I did use ChatGPT and it helped me. It actually helped me in the sense that, like, when I put out the equation, it told me how to get to that answer. And as long as I think as you're paying attention to like the problem solving portion of it, then I think that's helpful rather than just writing down the answer. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah, I was taking actually macroeconomics and business finite, which is like math for business. And we were doing the same formulas on both classes, so that kind of helped.
Yeah.
But it was a lot easier to just focus on the math portion for me than the macroeconomics with theory.
Yeah.
So I was actually focusing more on the math part because I was afraid of fail. Because I've taken math 125 and I kept dropping it because I was afraid of it.
Yeah.
But this time, so I was like, I'm going to focus on this class. Has a lot of homework. And I put macroeconomics to the side. So I still passed it with the B, but could have done better. Yeah. And I like, since it was online, I don't think a lot of things stayed. Yeah. For the other two classes, I feel like I learned more. It was accounting and the macroeconomics.
Nice.
Yeah. But I didn't know you failed that. So now that you got an A, that's good. And what did you take? You took it recently?
I took it last year. I went to I did it online. I did El Camino College. And then, I just, an advisor had told me last year, earlier in the year, because I was planning on going to grad school last year. Mm-hmm. And I actually wanted to go to UCLA. So I reached out to her and she had told me, like, you know, like, you have a pretty good shot. Just make sure that you try to make up that class that you failed. It's not really going to boost your GPA, but when we review your GPA and all the units you took, at least we see that you made it up and you passed it. And so that's what I did. And that was my reason for doing that. And then I decided not to go to UCLA or apply.
Or apply at all?
Apply at all.
But do you think you'd have a shot? I heard. I don't know. I heard that it's easier. You have a bachelor, right?
Yeah.
So it's easier for people that already have a bachelor to just apply and get it.
It's more expensive, right? No, it was definitely more expensive. It was a lot more work for the application process to even just apply. So I was being a little lazy and was like, I might as well just go to the school that I did my bachelor's at, so I don't have to transfer my transcripts and I don't have to do all like this extra paperwork and stuff. So I was kind of lazy.
So how was it for you? You went straight from high school, you graduated and you went to...
No.
You went to a community college first?
Yeah. I went to community college for like 3 to 4, almost 4 years. And then I transferred to Cal State Long Beach, and I only applied to Cal State LA and Cal State Long Beach because in my head, Cal States are just more affordable in general. So it makes the most sense to me. At the end of the day, somebody told me that as long as you have the degree, that's kind of all that really matters. Yes, like if you go to USC, there's like the network of USC, but I don't really care for that stuff. So, I did just end up applying to Long Beach, and I decided to go to Long Beach instead of Cal State LA.
That's where you graduated?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So then how long after you graduated high school did you go to community college? You went right away? So you never took any time off or...
So when I graduated high school, it was 2010, and that was like the recession was still going on and stuff. And a lot of people were getting laid off and going back to school. And so I specifically remember this because it was so competitive to get classes at a community college. And it was because everyone was going back to school. Like people were graduating and then people were getting laid off and fired and losing their jobs. So they were going back to school too. So you're just like competing with like full grown adults. And, so my first class that I took when I graduated, after I graduated high school, I think it was in the summer, and it was like bodybuilding, and there was a wait list for bodybuilding. That was the only class that was available. And it was like 2 or 3 of like my other friends from high school. And I don't think we ended up getting the class. And then I ended up getting like a Pilates class, and that was like one of like the first classes I took at PCC, just to get that like establishment into the school, so that way you get more priority for the next semester. So that's what started like my educational journey, I guess.
So that was right after high school.
Yeah, that was literally
You just
like
took summer break and then you took your Pilates class.
Yeah, that was like the same year.
So you only took one class your first semester? Or?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. How was that? Because like I feel like a lot of people decide not to go right after, or like people just decide to get a job and take a break.
What did you do?
For me, actually, I graduated the same year. But like I said last time, I wasn't born here, so usually you start thinking about college in high school, right? And either you talk to counselors and they kind of start a plan for you so you could get ready for that next step.
Yeah.
I don't even remember talking to a counselor because...
Honestly, I hated my counselor.
Really?
Yeah, I only talked to him a handful of times and he did not help me at all. So, sorry, I cut you off.
For me, I started 9th grade, 10th grade. I did good both years. Then 11th grade, I started going down. Started going out to doing different things, and so 11th grade I got my first F, my first fail. 11th grade, and I think that's the only fail. But at that point, that's when you start like thinking about your units. You got to finish your units. You have to be ready to graduate. And I was like, I got an F. I don't think I'm going to graduate high school. And I was like, okay, let's start doing good. But I still didn't think about college because, first of all, I wasn't even documented. I was completely illegal. Mm-hmm. Dream Act didn't come into play until 2012, I think.
Okay.
So that was 2 years after I graduated. By then I had a job. But right after high school, I tried to take some classes. I went to GCC, but it was like $1,000 per class because I was not documented.
Are you serious?
It was expensive. And I only did one semester and I stopped because it was like, how can you even afford that? Yeah.
And there's no like financial aid or anything.
Not for undocumented people.
Yeah. That sucks.
So then 2 years after that, I had already started working. I think my first job was at Burger King on York. Mm-hmm. York and Fig. Or York, yeah. Then I got a job at the convalescent hospital right down the street from there.
On York?
My mom worked there for a while, so I had to go through the whole, like, getting a fake ID from MacArthur Park, fake social, so then you could present it. Obviously, the managers know that you're undocumented, but you still have to present it so you could get paid.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So I had to go through that. I did it for Burger King. I did it for that. Then I got a job at Little Caesars. By then, DACA came around, and I was able to go to school now. I tried going for a semester or two here or there, taking classes.
Yeah.
But I would never get committed anymore because by then it's like, I have a job, I'm making money. I was like, I had already given up on the idea. And I think I've always liked business because I even tried to do a clothing brand. I did this and that. But for some reason, I wanted to study psychology at the time. I don't even know, but I was taking some.
Everyone does to figure themselves out.
I think it was because it was easier route.
Oh, okay.
It was like, okay, the fastest way to get a bachelor would be this way.
Makes sense.
But then again, I wasn't looking in the long term. I wasn't looking at 2-3 years.
Psychology is pretty hard.
It wasn't.
It's not like challenging. Like it's not like science, like physical science. But yes, I do understand what you're saying.
For me, it was more like, I don't know. I don't know if it's the way I learn. Mm-hmm. If you present information in front of me, then I learned with the information, and I don't have to go beyond that. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't even do my homework, and I would still get B's and A's. But I wasn't like focused in school. I was like, I don't think I want to do that. I want to start my own business. So I was doing the clothing brand. I was doing this. I was doing that, but it wasn't working.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't doing the right thing. I wasn't doing the management, right? The management's the big thing. It's like you have the product, you're selling it, and you actually have customers. But what's happening with the money after you get it? What are you doing with it? I would go and eat instead of
instead of like reinvesting it.
Yeah. Then I went back to school again because I took some time. So I would do a semester, then I'll take a break. I'll do a semester, I'll take a break. Then I took a finance class, and they told me to interview a business owner of my choosing. So I chose the people from Montoya Bread, and that's how I met them. They gave me a job. They offered me to be a manager of one of their businesses that we're going to open. I did that for 2 years. Then that's how I got into real estate because the owner came, and I think I did this story last time. But
it's okay. You can re-say your story.
Yeah. Maybe there's some new people. But yeah, that's where when I was working at that place called Burrito Place, the owner of the brokerage where I'm at, he came by and introduced himself and asked me if I wanted to be part of their brokerage. And I did. And I've been there since. It's been 7 years. Even when I got my license, I tried to do some classes, but I would always go back to the same thing, not focused.
Yeah.
Not having like a plan, not having like, hey, like if I do this for this amount of time, I'll be done with it.
Yeah.
Done and over.
Yeah.
Say no. But if I take one class at a time, it's just going to take 10 years. If I would have done one class I would have been done now, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, no. But then at the same time, it's everything that's going around you, right? You're focused with life. You're focused trying to get by, trying to do this, trying to do that, and also not doing anything.
Trying to have
at the
fun
same time.
and a social life. Yeah.
Because was it fun? You know? It's like you look back into your life. Were you really having fun?
You know what? That's a really good question. I actually recently started thinking about that because I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety recently. And I started reflecting on my 20s. And in my mind, and still to this day, I still think like, yes, I did have a lot of fun. But I don't necessarily think that it was good fun. Like in the sense where like, it was like, I mean, I guess fun is fun, but like, I don't know. I think I spent too much time drinking, and it was probably because I had like other issues going on that I was avoiding it.
That's what I was gonna say, right? I was gonna say
Yeah.
this. It's not that you didn't have fun. It's like you were having fun trying to avoid something,
Right.
And you know, you look at problems, right? And then there's always like a root to every issue,
right?
And if you don't start fixing that issue, it just becomes bigger, right?
Yeah.
So if instead of focusing on that, then we have fun.
Yeah, and so I think
it continues until your 30s and 40s if you don't fix it, right?
If you don't realize it and become self-aware, then you have a problem.
Yeah.
And I think so. I think I need to rewire my brain a little bit into understanding that instead of pairing the alcohol and the party and the life with like fun. Although, like I said, it was fun, but like I need to stop associating like that was like such a great time of my life, because it actually, looking back, it wasn't entirely, because I was probably trying to avoid things and not accept or digest maybe what was going on outside of my life or outside of that party life.
It's like they say the only way to grow is to go through the hard times, right?
Yeah, that's just annoying.
Right? And if you're having too much fun, that means you're not going through the hard times.
Yeah, that means you're ignoring shit.
You're not growing. You're not going to the next level. And I feel the same. Like last time we talked, I feel like the last 7-8 years or whatever, I pretty much wasted a lot of time. And
I feel the same too.
Quote unquote, it was having fun, right?
Yeah.
So was it really fun? That's why I question that. Right. Was it really fun?
Was it worth it?
Where would you be if you wouldn't have had that fun?
Yeah.
You know? Or at least it's not having fun. It's just balance.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part for people, just everyone, I think, to understand or to even come.
The balance.
Yeah. Balance, or having that sweet spot. Like,
where you're just
I'm very
like
committed, but I'm still going to have this much fun.
Yeah.
Or I'm still going to get this done. I'm still going to work on myself, work on my family, work with my job, my career. It's just tough.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's what life is, to get to that point in which you realize I'm getting to that point of balance.
Yeah,
you know?
I hope so. I'm definitely working on it. I also think that when you probably have like a chaotic childhood or upbringing, you normalize things and you see, you know, that's why a lot of people get like addiction problems, because like drinking makes them feel like they're alive and they're having fun and like they're loosened up. But like at the same time, I don't know, like what, okay, I my brain is like trying to jumble everything right now, but like, okay, you know how like when addicts stop drinking or doing drugs, and then they say like it's hard to not do that because they were at like this high point in their life where it's like chaotic and that they loved it and like it was just like a high for them. So when they're sober, it's hard to keep being sober because it feels boring. And I feel like when you have a chaotic childhood or upbringing, you're kind of like that in that sense where like you have the most fun in the chaos. So when you start to calm down and start to live like a normal life, it's hard for you to find that fun because it's not your baseline that you were raised with or the baseline that you were used to. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get you. And like, it's not necessarily that it's not just boring, but it's something that like subconsciously you're like, where's the chaos?
Yeah. You're not,
where's the chaos?
like
it's like,
used
it's not
to the
normal.
chaos.
Like,
yeah.
I want chaos. And that's what they say, like, when you're in a healthy relationship and you're used to like having a horrible, toxic relationship.
Yes, exactly.
You're like, I'm going to dump this guy because, you know, he's boring.
He's too safe and he treats me right. And like,
or vice versa with the women, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just like too much. Is it trauma that like you're still not over with, or you're not completely let go or not completely understood?
True.
That's keeping you from like, okay, this is what normal is now.
This is good for me. It's almost like you, and I relate to some of this too. It's like where sometimes you just feel like you need to self-sabotage because that's what you're used to. You're used to the chaos, the not doing good things for yourself. And so then because you want that back, you self-sabotage and make your life more chaotic than it needs to be. When in reality, I think it's like, it's almost harder to just like keep doing good things for yourself and keep saying good things for yourself. This is a good conversation, honestly, because I feel like I'm really proud that you're going back to school, and I'm really anxious to go back to school too.
Yeah.
I took my class last year for like 1 or 2 classes, but going back to school full time is a scary thing. How did you feel, and what made you really decide like, okay, I need to commit and make a plan now?
Well, there's a lot of things that have, last time when we met, when was it, like I think it was did last year. It was almost a year ago or probably a year ago.
Was it?
I believe so.
It was probably last year somewhere.
So, I think I may have been kind of hungover or 2 days hungover when we had that thing, and I feel like I was drinking not a lot but constantly. And and
was it for the last interview?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I remember. Yeah.
I don't know if I was hungover, but I'm sure I drank the previous days before. And
yeah, you were telling me you've been partying a lot more.
Yeah,
and drinking more.
And then September comes, and from one day to the other, it was like cold turkey. I'm not drinking anymore, and ever since then, things have changed. Yeah. You know, and even then, I was, because remember our conversation last time was because I turned 30. I was like, I think I need to change things.
Yeah.
I'm 30, and things haven't happened. I'm not where I want to be yet. I have dreams. I have goals that I still have to finish.
Yeah.
So what am I doing, or what am I gonna do? Because it's not like what have I done. The past doesn't matter. It's what's coming from now on.
Present to future.
So September comes, I decide to go sober, and then little things like it was like a domino effect. Then I decided like, okay, well, so if in my career I'm a real estate agent, I'm doing this, but anyone could get their license. Anyone could sell a home if they have a license. Like how do I make a difference? How am I different?
Yeah.
Or how can I give that client more of what I could offer? I was like, what can I do? I mean, I could pay a bunch of money for seminars. I could, get coaching, but I have to pay a lot of money. It's like, but I could also go back to school. I don't have a bachelor degree yet, so I'm going to look into that.
Yeah.
So then I set up an appointment with the counselor. I saw that it could take 1 year to get an AA and then another 2 to get my bachelor. I was like, And the conversation we had was like, hey, I've taken 6 years of my life being an agent, wasting a lot of time. So I do have the time.
Yeah.
I work 3 to 4 days, and 3 to 4 hours per day, and I could still make a decent amount of money to pay my bills.
Yeah.
If I actually, remember I told you this, if I actually worked hard, I would make a lot more money, but I don't. So I'm like, since my habits are so bad in that sense, let's implement something that's going to create
better habits.
Something different, better habits, this and that. And I also talked about like how it's always been an issue to wake up at a certain time because I want to do it, but I never do it. So the last month I've been waking up at 5:30. So I finally got to that.
Jealous.
So not only that did I have more, did I have time, but now I've created more time by just waking up a lot earlier and
having more discipline.
Yes, but it's like a domino effect. Like one thing will create the other thing. It's the first step is just starting one thing.
Yeah.
Like I remember last time we talked, I was like, oh, I'm reading books. I stopped that, by the way. I was reading like 3 to 4 books per month. But I stopped that because now I'm going to school. I have to read other stuff, and I don't have, I mean, I could still read here and there, but I'm not doing that. I'm like, I'm focused right now. I want to finish this and that and that. And at the same time, I'm still trying to get more busy in the business of selling homes too. So
I feel like even though you stopped the reading books, like you picked up probably a even better discipline where you have a goal now. Now you're reading and you have a goal to get your degree.
Yeah.
And I think that's a better hobby.
It's like, you know, before doing this too, I went through the whole like, damn, I'm 31. Like, I'm old.
Damn, you're 31?
Yeah.
You're old.
You're 30 what?
I'm 31.
You're not.
Yes, I am.
32 now?
I'm 31.
All right, anyway. I was like, I'm old and I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to be probably one of the few ones there. But now that I'm there, there's a lot of
hair. Just kidding.
there's a lot of people that are my age. Well, it's like 10%, 20%. And then there's older people actually getting the degrees at their 50s, 60s. And I'm like, okay, not bad. But I did my research. I was like, is it too old to go to school? I went on Reddit.
Am I too late?
Am I too late? And there was a lot of people actually that go through this and they don't start because they think it's already too late, but it's not, you know. And then there's this saying that stuck with me is like, if you decide to go to school right now, in 3 years, you're still going to be 33. If you don't, you're still going to be 33. So might as well do it
sooner, right?
Yeah.
That for sure.
It's like the time's still going to happen. Like the time doesn't stop. Right. But what are you going to do in that time? And you can. No matter how busy you think you are, you have time.
I agree.
I think a lot of people do, you know, so if it's not school that you need to change. I know everyone has something that they have to do and they keep putting it away, right? Mm-hmm. For me, it's that. But for some people, it's something else.
Yeah, for
and they keep saying like, oh, I'm going to do it later. I'm going to do it later. But it's like you have to act upon it. You got to do it as soon as possible or else you're never going to do it most likely.
I feel that. And I feel like I was on the same thing where I was just like, I'm already 30. Like, I think it's a little too late for me to go back to school. Like, I should have done this earlier. Like, why did I spend so much time just going out and wasting time and things like that? But it's true. You literally are just wasting time and you could still be in the same place and do nothing or just keep doing that mundane, like 9 to 5 work. Mm-hmm. Or and I mean that like you can keep doing that for the next 2 to 3 years. Or like you said, like, or in 2 to 3 years, you can still be that person and have a degree. Mm-hmm. So you're actually advancing within those 3 years. So what difference does it make if you go now, you know? Or like you might as well go now.
Or like some people are like, they look at themselves in the mirror and they're like, oh, I wish I was 30 pounds lighter. I wish I looked this way. Like, oh, well, next week or next month or next year,
I'll start the diet. I'll start the gym.
Or it's like, we've been saying that because I feel like I've done that too.
Me too.
And you could simply just decide like tomorrow I'm going to start and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing. Same thing applies. Like in 3 years, I'm still going to be who I am now. But if I start working out today or tomorrow, I might be those 30 pounds lighter.
True.
So it's like you have to do it.
You have to keep going.
Yeah.
And you have to keep getting better. That was for me too. Like my job requires me to like mostly sit down a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm having all these back problems. I'm gaining weight. I'm like, you know, these like issues are going on with me physically. My body is telling me physically, you're not okay. You need to like fix something. So my body was telling me, you need to fix something, you need to change something, you need to do shit. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm wearing this Apple Watch right here is because like my coworkers, they have their own goals of what they want to do with their weight or losing inches. Like, we don't have like a competitive thing going on, but it's accountability. And it's not really like pressurized either. It's not like you need to close. I don't know if you've used the Apple Watch before, like where you close your rings and you count your steps and stuff.
I have.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. And
I've done the, like, you have friends in the within the Apple
you share your
community or whatever, and then you could go on like what's it called when you compete?
Yeah.
See who makes the most steps or whatever.
Yeah,
like just something.
You look at their activity and you guys are sharing each other's activity. And so it's helped me a lot, because if I wasn't doing this, I would have been just sitting and having probably more back pain. And I still have back pain, but I could say that I'm gradually losing weight. I'm gradually being mindful of walking more. I'm also being mindful of going to the gym more, and just being mindful of like the things that I'm eating too. And I think it's just like helped me be accountable for those things and kind of like slowly start to build like better consistency with working out or just like moving more. And I hope, in the long run that helps, like, yeah, my physical pain, like my hormone imbalance and stuff. So I'm really hoping that works out for me. But for the longest, I would say maybe like a year or two, like I was just starting to get into this pattern of just like sitting down, going home, and then going to sleep, or watching TV and just like chilling. And it felt ugly.
Yeah, it's easy to get used to little things like that, like routines that are very peaceful in a way, but they don't serve you in the long run.
You're kind of also just like escaping, the things that you should be doing, because like I would just get home and be like, oh, I'm tired. I deserve to lay down and watch TV and just like decompress, which is true. People do deserve that. But when you've been sitting all day, your body doesn't deserve that,
Definitely.
So I agree. A lot of these things and habits like correlate with each other, like school, losing weight, just like goals that you should be doing for yourself. Not that everyone has to go to school.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. But, like I said that last time, actually, when we had that interview last time, I wasn't yet thinking of going back to school, and I talked about how it's not necessarily going to school, but it's learning, constant learning, no matter what you're doing, no matter what your job is, no matter what position you're in.
Yeah.
It's like, this life is about learning. Let's say you live the rest of your 50 or 80 years of your life, and you just end up knowing what you know now. Like, how are you going to go through life?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, the world is changing so fast now that if you're not doing anything to learn anything else, it's just going to keep going, and you're going to be stuck where you're at.
I agree.
It's tough. And for me, like, I hit 30 and it's just wake up call. I think a lot of people go through this at a younger age, but it's never too late.
For sure.
So I think a lot of people go through it probably at 24, probably.
I don't know
I'm
if
6, 7
there's
years.
like a set age though.
But for the most part, I think, because, you're going through school, and school doesn't necessarily open your mind to that. But the things that you're doing while in school, it's creating those habits.
Right, for sure. And that's what's important. I agree. I think going to school keeps you consistent, and it keeps you in like these good habits of things that you should be doing. And you have to wake up early sometimes to go to that class, and that keeps your brain moving too, which is good, whether or not you retain things, but like you're trying. And I think for me personally, I think school benefits me. Like without school, I can admit that before I went to college and found what I liked doing or learning, I felt like I was an ignorant ass person who didn't know shit, and I thought I knew shit. And like looking back, I was really dumb.
Yeah.
And just like my mindset of things, like I was just totally blind. I was just blinded by things that I had just observed in my environment, in high school, in my elementary school, like just my surroundings of what I was picking up and learning. And then I went to college, and then it just helped me expand my mindset, and it helped me like find things that I liked. It helped me with just like so many good things. And for me, at like I said, I keep saying it, but like school isn't for everyone, but it is for me.
Definitely.
You know?
I was one of those people that kind of like agreed or started to believe that in order for you to succeed in life, you don't need to go to school, right?
Right.
And it is true.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of billionaires, a lot of people that have made it in life. It's not like how much money you make dictates how successful you are in life, but that's one of the measurements, right, of success. I was one of those, like, if I'm going to make it, I don't need to go to school. I'm going to make it regardless. Mm-hmm. But would you say the odds are against you or not?
Yeah.
Right. Because if you start thinking, I started looking at it this way. When I started like looking into going back to school, I was like, so yes, people that don't go to, or dropouts that they don't go to school, they become very successful. But if you look at the whole picture of, let's say, not humanity, but the amount of people in the United States, and you look at the college graduates versus those who dropped out and made it big, what percentage would it be?
Yeah. Like your odds are a little more against you if you don't go to school. And there are those outliers that do succeed with just dropping out. And yeah, they have proven that college doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be successful. But I would say a lot of us, especially in our age group, I think a lot of us are more educated, and maybe a lot of things are just like factor into one another, including like economics and stuff. And I think millennials have been like got the shit end of a lot of the, like everything, especially in the housing market, just like the workforce. And we're still the most educated generation, like we're actually one of the smartest generations. And that's not being just like making up shit. Like I've read about this, and it's because like a lot of people in like the boomers generation, they're closed-minded people. They've kind of just been dealt with better hands, where they kind of, have pensions, and they have like more higher socioeconomic status generally. And they have like most of the wealth. And the Gen Z is a little bit like, they're just, I feel bad for them because they got like this, they also got some like catering to, where millennials had to learn a lot of things. We had to learn how to use the internet. And so that's how a lot of us know how to like do coding. A lot of us are comfortable with troubleshooting. A lot of us know how to figure things out on our own. Obviously not every fucking millennial, but
for the most part, yeah.
For the most part. And for Gen Z, they struggle with that. And I've read like research on that, where like, that's why they're going to start having classes in high school where they're teaching them how to do certain things that they should know how to do, and they don't, because a lot of them are also falling for like spam. Like a lot of them are like falling for email spam and like providing their information because they're so kind of just like, their mind hasn't been like molded to like troubleshoot and figure things out kind of on their own. They've kind of just been handed a perfect cell phone. Versus us, like we had to use flip phones and razors and
download music from LimeWire,
and things like that, where we had to figure out how.
MySpace was like you had to create your own code.
We had to figure out how to like find our enjoyment, and then be patient for the internet to like fucking download and shit or whatever. And we had to like work for our things and like just keep figuring things out and keep, the recession happened. So like I was saying, I had to take a class in order to get priority for my next semester. And like, it's patience. It's like constantly trying. And, when kids end up they're just like handed things and they don't have to work for them. Then when things kind of hit the fan, like shit hits the fan, they don't know how to figure that out for themselves.
True.
And so a lot of them also struggle with like depression and anxiety and things like that. And, I'm not just saying, I obviously am biased because I am a millennial, but I do see, and I've read these like articles and stuff that do state these things about our generation. I don't know where I was going with this.
But I think one thing though about the fact that us millennials have it, what did you use? We have the short end of the stick. Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah.
But that means that the moment will come in which our opportunity will come, right? Because you're saying that the boomers are the ones that pretty much have the gold. He
right
who
now.
holds the gold makes the rules.
Yeah.
So eventually, what's going to happen to the boomers? Right?
Yeah, I mean, I've been waiting for a lot of them to just die.
Right.
But
That's what happens, and the next generation will have to take charge of the opportunities that come. But are you prepared for the opportunities? And we touched on this last time too. If you prepare yourself and you're not just stagnant on just living life and having fun, the opportunity will come that you'll be able to take that. Yeah, you'll be ready. It's like we might be 30, we might be 40, 45, but things could change in 5 years so drastically that if you're not ready, you're just going to be looking like, damn, I should have done this. Why didn't I?
True.
Right? The boomers are almost like, if I keep hearing like, oh, so-and-so is in bed, so-and-so is in the hospital, you know?
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's life.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen. So you have to be ready, prepared for those opportunities that will come. The house that you want to buy will come up for sale and you're going to be making the money to buy that house. But
True.
It will come.
Yeah.
And you know, like when it comes to the housing market, stock market, economy, if you look back, it always goes up and down. So
yeah,
we're not the only generation that has gone through this, but we feel like we are because we're living through it.
Right.
Right. I'm sure that before the boomers, I don't know history like that, but I'm sure someone had a hard time as well, and was having this conversation, just not in a podcast because there was no podcast back then.
Yeah, maybe like the Great Depression or something.
Something like that. Probably, I don't know. Maybe that was worse. I don't know.
No, it was.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure worse.
And another thing that I think about is like we're in the United States, right? I lived in a different country for 10 years of my life. I don't remember how it was when it comes to living real life because I was a child. But from what I've read, it's like we're in a first world country, and there's countries that are poor, and the poor here are rich in any other country. So we're blessed just to wake up and living in America, you know?
Yeah.
Living in the United States. And there's a lot of people out there that don't appreciate that and the opportunities that come with that, you know? Like if I was in my country having the salary that I have, I'd be rich, you know?
Yeah.
Having the income that anyone that is making minimum wage here would be well off. You know, it's very different, but it's like the opportunities that we have here, no one else has.
Yeah.
You know, so we should take advantage of that.
For sure. I agree. I know a lot of people. Relax.
Got a little carried away.
I think a lot of people, and it's not to say that there aren't issues in America, the United States, because there's a lot, and it's fucked up the way our country is and the way it treats its people, and it treats other people in like other countries, and there are other first world countries that they do have like healthcare for all of the people that live there. I think that is important. I think, there are countries that also help with students, like going to school a lot more. And, but I all I know is the United States. And I just feel like I know I should be grateful that I am here. And that my grandparents, did so much to be in this country to like continue this, like, I don't want to say legacy, but just to continue doing better for the youth, for the grandchildren, the next to come. And stuff. Yeah. And, I think it's always important to be grateful for those things. And to kind of keep continuing doing better for yourself, to kind of keep doing better for the other people that are going to come into the world. I don't know if I have kids.
Well, yeah. I mean, do you want to have kids?
Most of the time I think about it and I'm just really scared. So that's it. but I don't want to talk about that, so it's not.
Okay.
But yeah, so I was excited to actually hear about like things that you've learned and stuff because I support you and I think you should keep going.
I am. Well, if you never know what could happen, but that's the goal as of now. A lot of times before I would stop because I need to work full time or I need to make money, but
Yeah.
I don't think I have another opportunity. I don't want to have another delay.
Yeah.
It's like, or an excuse, because it's always an excuse. I think it was for me, at least. It was always an excuse. It's like, no, you know what? You could be doing this instead. But no, if I would have been doing this instead, I wouldn't have to have been worrying about this now. So,
yeah. And there's always going to be people that try to like tell you, oh, it's faster to do this instead. And instead of doing that.
Oh no, they told me like, why are you going to school? You don't need college. I'm like, well, I've been in the workforce for 11 years and I feel like I'm stuck. So I got to do something. And if it doesn't work out, at least I did it,
Yeah.
At least I explored that option instead of going, because I already had that thought. It's like, what if I would have had a degree already? Me being a DACA recipient, I feel like the opportunities would be greater, even if thinking about like becoming a citizen or getting a green card.
Yeah.
There's opportunities once you have a bachelor, but not any if you don't have a degree. So opportunities will open up.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, be prepared for those opportunities when they come.
Leverage for sure.
So as far as learning, I mean, I'm getting my degree in business management. I've been in business forever, for like 10, 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
I failed in everything that I've done pretty much because I haven't gotten to the goal that I have in mind, at least. But I feel like the missing part was the management. So I am learning that part,
Yeah.
So I went to this meeting. This was actually a seminar for real estate, and it was actually to learn about what not to say when you meet clients, blah, blah. But at the end, we talked about not like learning personality, but learning styles.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever found out what kind of learning style you are?
I don't think so. I've never done like a test or anything that I can. It was
a very quick test. It's like it had 20 questions. You put 1 through 4, and then there's a graph that has 4 options, or like an x-axis and a y-axis.
Mm-hmm.
It's A, B, C, D, 1 through 3, 4, whatever. The first one is if you're more dominant on the first quadrant 1, then you're like a why person. Like, you want to know why you want to learn this. If you're on the second one, it's like the information. You will have to have the information in order for you to learn. And then the other one is, what was it? Damn, I forgot. But I learned that I'm the one that I need information in order for me to learn.
Yeah.
So if I would have gone without going to school, where was I going to get the information? I had to do the research myself. But I think my learning style is not that way. So
yeah.
It's also good to kind of explore yourself and see what kind of personality you have, what kind of learning style you have, so then you could know what would be best for you.
True.
Because if you're the type of person that, I need to do it anyway, it's like you could go into any job, learn by doing it, or any opportunity that will come, you learn by doing it. It's like you'll be set,
Yeah.
But everyone's different and everyone has a different path. Everyone has a different timeline. So it's just more about exploring yourself,
For sure. And I think I also read somewhere that it's kind of like there was a period a couple of years ago where employers were stating that they're hiring people without degrees, like, but now there's like kind of a recap of what was said a couple of years ago, and it's not necessarily true. The employer's still looking for the people with degrees. And so and those people with degrees are typically going to get more money. That's just how it is, the degree, one of my old bosses told me, and I hated his fucking guts, but he told me,
he's probably listening to this.
he told me that as long as you get the degree, that's all that matters. Doesn't even matter what degree.
And that's your boss. So that means
And
that's
that
someone
was-
that's constantly hiring people.
That was a guy that had his own business and like everything. And he just told me like, and he was like some old white guy. I fucking hated him. But that was like one thing that stuck. That was like almost like one of the things I needed to hear from somebody older that had a business. And it was just like, just get a fucking degree. And he told me, he's like, because at the end of the day, when you're looking for a job, they're just looking, a lot of the times, they're just looking to see that you committed to something and that you did it. So it doesn't even matter the degree. The GPA should matter, but not to like some severe extent unless you're trying to be like, you know, a doctor, obviously, or something like that.
Or you want to go to a specific school and it requires that. Or
but like, you know, just get it done. Just do it. And that's what he told me. Like, that's what matters when you're applying for jobs.
But if you think about it, like if you had your own business, right? If you had your own business, or if you were like a big hiring manager, would you want to get someone that has a degree or not? First of all, you question yourself. This person that has a degree had to go through what? And versus this person that didn't go to school, like I feel like even if this person has the experience, you still have to teach this person the basics.
Yeah.
And that's what I heard someone tell me, that this owner of a company is I forgot what kind of company, but they said that in order for them to hire someone, they need a degree, because if not, then they're going to be teaching them the basics.
Yeah.
That a school would have taught, you know.
Right.
It's kind of like,
and it's like what we were talking about earlier, how the subject doesn't necessarily matter. That's only half of the what's going on. It's about like the habits that you're creating, the consistency that you're doing, the commitment. Like those are building you as a person, and those are creating better habits for you. And so those are important skills to have in the workforce. That is what you're learning, you know, when you're in school. And so because of that, employers do consider that like they learned all of these X, Y, and Z skills other than their subject. And so that's what's important, you know?
Another thing that I noticed is that going back to school at a later age, or like an older age, it's sometimes more beneficial or better because you kind of know more about life.
And yourself.
And you kind of like know what would be a better degree to get.
True.
If you are pushed into going to college right after high school, usually you are going because your dad wants you to be a doctor, or your mom wants you to be a nurse, or, you know, like the family legacy, we have to do this and blah, blah, blah. And then you force yourself to go through school to get this degree, never use it.
Yeah.
And then you're like kind of unhappy because you got that degree. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
At least if you're older, you at least kind of have an idea. It's like, okay, I would rather do this than psychology, or I would rather do this. And now you'll enjoy the journey that you go into, and you will learn a lot more because you'll be able to associate it to your life. And that's what's happening to me. It's like, if I would have gone to school when I was 21, it's like, it's just a big world and you don't even know where to start. But now, like, you're older, you do kind of know how to associating what to grab. Like, I want that information. I want to use it, and I'm going to use it right away.
Like, you're a little more refined, so you kind of know more or less.
It's like, I don't need to pay attention to this, but I will pay attention to this. I want to learn this. This class, hey, I'm going to take everything in.
Or you even know yourself. You're like, I'm not a morning person, so I'm not going to take that 7 a.m. class.
Or if you want to be a morning person, you take that class.
Right, either or. But I know, like, when you're younger, you're just like, I just want to get this shit out of the way. And you just take all of these classes, and then, you know, because it's so overwhelming and you're not a morning person, you give up. And it's easier to give up when you don't know yourself. Yeah. And you know, and you don't accept that you're not a morning person. Yeah. So I shouldn't take that class. Because I know that happens to a lot of people where they just overwhelm themselves, and then they just get.
That's why I would drop off, because I was actually working full time, but that job required a lot more like physical work than what I do now. So it's like, I can't do full time.
Yeah.
I was waking up at 5 a.m. for work at the time. And when was I going to be able to do my homework and this and that? It's like,
yeah. Well, we can end here. Where can we find you?
Where can we find me? On
where
Instagram.
Where can we find me?
Oh, find you.
Just kidding. Yeah, where can we find you?
Meaning like social media, or do you want to come visit the office? Or
well, yeah, you're giving tours. I don't know.
Yeah, we usually have coffee next door at McDonald's.
Just blurt out wherever you want.
So I think you're gonna tag me anyway. So you could find me on Instagram at Yefree Montoya with the double A at the end, and just feel free to ask me any questions if you have any questions regarding the market or going back to school.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know.
Do you have a website?
I do have a website. It's yefreemontoya.com, first and last name. If you want me to spell it, it's Yefree. Montoya's Montoya.com.
Yay.
And if you want to come by, it's just on York and 57 by the McDonald's next to it. If you're a local, you probably know.
Yeah.
And hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Yay. And give a round of applause to
both
Alexis.
Of us. Thank you for doing this.
Let's close it up with like a quote or something like.
Okay, say your quote.
No, not me. Ready. No, you gotta come up with something random. Anything. It'll be like the Alexis quote or whatever.
Oh shit! I don't have a quote in my head. What do you have?
A joke. Do you have a joke?
No, I don't. Don't put me on the spot. I have like ADHD.
We're not closing it until you have one.
Okay, just keep on trucking.
Be you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for doing this.
No problem.
I know you were busy today, so thanks for stopping by.